is the
Welcome to another episode of the Keezy Elise Show. I am joined by the marvelous Miranda Marriott, and we were just talking about why we're here today. And I've just spent, I don't know if you know this, Miranda, but I've just spent the last 2 days with Virja Deas, who has both been a mentor to both of us before.
yeah.
And um, I kind of was like, all right, today I kind of want to just go fucking rogue and really list, like, and become into a deep state of listening.
Mm,
And probably this is perfect for us because we've both come from being very heavily, not that I even like this polarity term of masculine or whatever it is, but we've kind of always externalized getting answers and from somebody else, normally a male figure, about how to do business
mm.
and how to do, and that's when Miranda first came to me. You had been working with a very strategic masculine coach. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd done it for my whole life and also my whole business. Like it was just constantly, I wanted to make money. I was a single mom, wanted to provide for my son, wanted this lifestyle business where I had more time with him. So I was like, okay, I got to get coaches that will give me money, and get my business big and good. And it was just like, I've got to go get business coaching and strategy and because that's what I need to do to make this money. But it was horrible because I didn't make money, and I ended up spending all this money and just oscillating, yo-yoing, getting 0 to 7K, 5K, whatever. And not long before I met you, I was in so much shame and guilt because I'd spent all this time, all this money, and everything I'd earned, I just put back in the business. And I'm sitting there just before I met you, 20 grand in debt, not able to buy anything for my son. And the whole point of getting to the business was to like give him a life and I just poured it, into that, doing what I thought was going to make it break, and it didn't. It did the opposite. And it drained me, exhausted me, stressed me out. I felt like a horrible mother, horrible person. Like I was like not winning at anything. And all I was trying to do was have a business to make an impact on the mission I had and to provide for my son. It wasn't like, I wasn't trying to be this famous whatever. Like I just wanted to like, you
Hmm.
know, do what I loved and give money to him. And it was the opposite was happening. It was so upsetting and draining when I tried absolutely everything, And it got to a point when I just had started right before I got to you, like I'd started to make a little bit of money. Started to make the 10K, 20K, from some strategy stuff. But it was really draining and exhausting. And I had something happen with my son that I just knew I couldn't sustain that way of doing it. Even if I was starting to make something, it was tiring, exhausting. I couldn't keep up with it. It wasn't like lifestyle sustainable as a mum. And also it wasn't fulfilling. Like I was bored, exhausted, hated the business, hated what I was doing, hated manipulating, hated, I was like, what's the point in even getting 10K to just sell my soul, hate my life, take the toll on my whole life and my relation. It's like there's just no win in it.
Mm.
Mm. That's how it felt before I met you. I literally was like, God, universe, I need help. Like, I was just throwing my hand up in the air, like, I don't know what I need, but I tried and I surrendered, and I was like, show me like a feminine mentor or something. So I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know the world of men. And then like I see you partner up and I'm just like, firstly judge you going like, who's this bitch like out there? Like, so arrogant, like whatever. And then a month later, you're like, yeah, let's make money with magic because one of your clients had made 20K with magic. And I was like, money with magic? Like, I don't have to work and stress and, awesome. Go, go do that. So,
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It still feels like really beautiful to actually hear like the emotion of the pain that experience was for you, like being in that era.
Mm. Oh, it was like, I was just desperate and exhausted. I remember like a coach of mine at the time that was starting to try it, Ryan was trying to get me into the path of soul and fulfillment and get me away from. He actually made me watch this movie, like I think it's called A Beautiful Life. The one it's a many old, movie, but it's about the concentration camps and this father, takes his son and he's trying to give him this beautiful experience in the camps and to help him not know what's actually happening. It's such a like incredible movie. It's so devastating. But the reason why he wanted me to see that was that, money doesn't give my son what he wants. Like he wants my love, and he wants me. And I had so much shame and guilt about where I was at, but I just had to realize like money's not what I need and what he needs. Like love is, and my heart is, and my time with him and my presence. And I can have that now, joy, whatever, like no matter where I was at, and I started dancing with Harry every day, like just to have 5 minutes of joy. And it just felt so abundant because I'd never felt really abundant. Even if I had money, whatever, it was an energetic I'd never felt. And that was a key thing to just fully unconditionally love myself, to accept where I was, and to still know I can still love my son and he just wants me. And yeah, it was sort of the first big shift of feeling the frequency of abundance in my life and love for myself, because that's really what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Mm.
So beautiful. But and here's the thing, and as I was sitting there yesterday in the event, we got to like be in prayer and and not visualization, creation and connection with our business entity. And oh, I just had all this shit coming through me. I was just like, I got up on the microphone, and just took up space, and I was like, this is fucked, because I've really been journeying with, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on, for me, when I became a mother, something happened to me where it was like all the energetic from societal codes and also having a birth that didn't go to plan. I took on this belief system like, okay, well, now that I'm a mum, I've got to be responsible. Now that I'm a mum, I've got to like not spend my money. Now that I'm a mum, I've got to like, like, oh, he has to provide for me because he's the man, and the fucking bullshit polarity, masculine, feminine teachings of like that have actually just been keeping it stuck. And in that moment, I was like, I am here to literally unlock women's expression so that they can make more money and that mothers and women actually get to do that.
Mm.
And like, how has that been? Because, it's so easy for maybe any mother that's listening to this, especially a single mother. That's like such a big one, isn't it? Oh, like the little societal voices of, oh, but you're a single mother, so it's even harder. You're a single mother, so it's this. Because, I mean, how the fuck do we do it? We'd
Mm.
have fulfillment, money, deep love, connection, and be following our soul's path while equally following our values of wanting to be in connection and radiance and health and all of those things.
Like, how do we do all of that? Um, yeah, no, I hear you. And, I really hear that piece firstly on the shoulds and the mum this and that. It's like, I remember when I first had Harry, like, and I was so excited. Like, I've wanted to run a retreat, right, since the beginning of my business. Like, I've wanted to be a coach since I was 16. Like, this was my like love, and a retreat was like the pinnacle of it, right? And I remember when my son was a year old or something, I'd said to someone like, this is what I want to do, and I'm super excited. I was having these meetings and it's potential, and they're just like, what about your son? And I was like, well, I have him 24/7. My ex hardly does. Like he can have him for a couple of days, like while I go on retreat. Like I was like, what? But there's none of that to him. There was never that to him, but to me there was. And I was like, but the thing I realized, and there was actually a lot of shame even around running retreats and stuff, going away for a week or two, or like, to go take myself away from him. But even go on retreats for myself or own personal development, whatever, all this guilt about it, and a lot of mums talk to me, the guilt to put their money in themselves, not their kids or whatever, needing the permission from their men to do that. And I know for me that when I'm living my true nature and purpose, which a part of me is my personal development, part of me is running my retreats, going, I come back the most present, incredible part, so he sees more of me and he gets more of me. And every time I go, I transform to more of the mum I meant to be.
Mm.
If I sacrificed that or did the shoulds or, the thing is like we have to create based off our life. And what I always go back to, what would I suggest to my son if he was in this position? What would love say? Because I can see love very clearly with him. I have a lot more compassion naturally and unconditional love. And I know I'd be telling him to go on that trip or retreat and to be fully who he is and then come back more alive in him. I know it. And that's been my experience. And a lot of the time as well, like at the end, I bring him along. And so he gets to be in there too, or like, and I want him to see that, and experience that. And, maybe in the future he might come. I don't know, I don't know. But we definitely need to follow our path and not the shoulds and the whatevers of the motherhood, because the people who are the mums are working in their business, they get judged for doing stuff. And then the ones who sit there doing nothing, they get it's just like everyone has a fucking opinion and judge of something, right?
It's so much worse in motherhood, I feel like. I don't know why, but yeah, just like, oh, you should be doing this. And that was a really big realization for me choosing to come back to work. It was like I was holding on to my belief systems around how my own mother was, and that, oh, she wasn't there for me. And we had to have, because she was a single mother, we had to have childcare after school, and she worked, a 9 to 7 job. And so I
Mm,
was like, oh, but I need to be there for my kids because I didn't have, but it was like, no, that's not the case. Like, I need to fully, and this like comes back to everything. It's like we need to, our only mission on this planet is to literally be our most authentic express self.
mm, yeah.
And because that is what changes our relationships. That's what changes. Yesterday Jared was talking about how, like a lot of women, when they ask for something from their husbands, they kind of go on with this energy of like, oh, I'm not sure. And can I have it, and, the
Yeah.
other day I said to Logan, I was like, hey, I'm going to make this investment. And like, I would really love you to support me. This is where I feel like it's going. He's like, I'm fucking with you, babe.
Yeah.
Jared talked about holding the sword of like, this is,
Plain.
yeah, claiming it and also being like, and this is what I see for us. And,
Mm,
and it's not like, it's not asking for permission. It's not like, of course, we're a union, we're a partnership. So, he matters. I'm not doing it's going, no, no, I don't care. I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm going to do it anyway. It's like, as women, and so much of my work is to bring this like claiming of who they are, to take up space
mm,
more and what they fucking want.
yeah, for
And that
sure.
the impact on their family is going to be 10x what they think and just trying to follow what the fucking Joneses think they should do.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, life always opens up when we're, being who we fully are and going forward in that. And I remember I went to Egypt when I felt really called intuitively, to go. And though I didn't really know why, whatever, it was like, I didn't have any understanding. It was just like, I'm called to go there. Okay, go. I've done that, a lot of trips for places in the world. And when I was there, like I literally was just in temples doing rituals. Like there was no posting, there was no whatever, like wasn't telling anyone I had a program, like nothing. And while I was there, like all these people were messaging me like, can I work with you? And then when I got back like the next week, usually my launch for my mastermind's like sort of 2 months, it had filled in a week, and it's just not heard of. I've never had that happen before and again, you know, but all I was doing was going where I was called and just being myself, like, and being my spiritual. And then business flew, and then like relationships happened when I got back. And like it was just, when you're you and you're living your authenticity, you're magnetic to life that's meant to be yours. Everything that's inherently connected to you comes, right? So yeah, I totally believe that. And I think when we're trying to do the shoulds or the copy, the whatever, like we're blocking our energy, we're blocking our light, and so what is for us can't come. It doesn't know it's there. But the thing I was also thinking when you're sharing that as well is that we want to have the health and we want to have our life, and then we also want, to be with our kids, but then to be in the business and then the partner, and that like it's like, well, how the fuck do we do all this? Because what I find for me is really, really powerful is it's actually an energetic and a structure of my relationship to those things. It's not actually even a how, because the how or the steps or like when I'm connected energetically and it's a sort of functional structure, my genius or intuition like will lead the how. That it's just I got to keep making sure my structure's there and then the rest gets taken care of. So for instance, when I've been in, as a single mom, I was like, oh, well, I can do business and my son, but I can't add anything else in, can't relationship, whatever. And so the last year I've been exploring a relationship, and it took all this energy. And then it made me think, well, see, I can't do relationship and business. Like, it's showing me I've got to choose, but it's not true. Because what was happening was I went into like trying to create a functional relationship with this person, but like there were issues and things popping up. So it took a lot of my focus and energy. And so then I became more aloof to my business and money. And I was annoyed at my business and money because it had taken so much away, and it had taken away from relationships or health or whatever. But that wasn't how I had to be either. You know, at different times in my business, I've been codependent with my business where I've needed it and been desperate and so attached to it that I've like neglected other things. But there's other times where I've been like controlled by it, or this like black magician-y, like, or even money, like dictated and controlled by it, or I'm trying to control it, right? And so like there was all these dysfunctional, because there's three dysfunctional ways we can relate and one functional one. Codependence, the overlap, not letting each other breathe and be ourselves. Like we need each other, right? And I've been like that with my business and money before. The black magician is it's controlling and dominating, the sub-dom thing, right? And then there's the aloof. Like, and so what had happened is I'd had this codependent thing with the business, or black magician-y stuff. And then I went, fuck you, and became aloof and just was like, well, I'll let you go. You've ruined my life or you've hurt me, like go away, like I'll go now do that, play that game with someone else. Like it doesn't have to be any of that. I just have a function, which is like the figure eight, the eternity symbol. I'm whole and complete and sovereign. You make the choice in your business or money, or like, you're sovereign, but you're connected, but we're sovereign, connected, moving together, but in our individuality as well. And when I'm functional with my relationship and I'm functional with my business and I connected, but I'm sovereign, but I'm not desperate and dependent, or I'm not controlled, or I'm not controlling, or I'm not aloof. I don't not care. I do care. I'm connected. But if I hold that with my son, if I hold that with my relationship, if I hold that with my business, money, all of it, it just flows. It's when I go into some dysfunction that I then overarch the business or the relationship, or, it sucks the energy out.
Mm.
So I found like when I've got a funk with something, money's blocked, or business or relationship, or if I can just and often what I will do is just imagine putting myself back into a figure eight, back into
Mm.
that connection. Even that alone will actually create that, it's really
Mm.
weird because it's just like I do it and then it's just somehow it just works.
But you're obviously like, I mean, how, what is the how? How have you come to be in, because I have varying different levels of women who listen to this. Like, how have you come into the how of that? Like, to be in such energetic resonance with
I,
that.
I think like something I have is that every day, like a part of my alchemy rituals or my super conscious work that I do, I have my visions of what I want to create and what I'm looking towards and what I'm building. And they're in all my areas. They're in my health, that's in business, it's in my life, my relationships with my son, my partners, travel, like all of it. It's not just one, right? And that's a
Yeah.
big thing because before it used to just be business and I'd neglect. So it's all my visions. And I really believe that my superconscious, our genius, is that God self in us that can create anything. Like you think of God just like spoke and bang, it's like there's no, if we were all just our God self, not the ego, like we would just be creating all the time without
Yeah.
any hesitation, right? And
I
no
mean,
feet and it's done.
we do create all the time, except it's from the limiting part of us,
Yeah, yeah.
aren't
Yeah, if
we?
we create what we don't want or a nightmare, or then it's our ego. And it's amazing because it's like, wow, we created that, like, oh, I can create something I do want now.
Exactly.
Pretty impressive when we create doozies that are like so specific, and it's like, okay, I'm powerful. All right, let's do it to something good. So, the visions I have are very key and I see them every day and I focus on them. And then anytime there's like a kink or a block or like, yeah, it's stuck or it's yo-yoing, I just sort of do a bit more work on like tuning in and going like, okay, here's the vision. This is where I'm at. Like, what's the big thing that needs to click? And I just wait for the answer. Like, what's the next step? One was like contact you and connect to you, and that was one thing. It's like every day I get these little things, and
Mm.
it's just a nudge. I just get a knowing. And it's like where I have a conversation with someone, like, oh, that's it. Like that's the thing. Like, so it's literally like I guess I connect to those visions, or I connect to my business, or I connect to money, or I connect to my partner relationship, like. And I just like go, okay, how is it today? Like looking at a plant outside, like is it thriving or is it dying? Like right now, my plant's a bit sour because it's been hot, right? What does it need? Like that's not looking thriving. Like that's not where I want it to be. Like it's just feedback of what's it need now. It's like, okay, it needs some water, it needs some food, it needs. Um, so I guess yeah, I have my visions and I have my relationship to these things, and I'm just constantly connecting with it. Just even before this call, I was chatting to my business and just having this connection and being like, what's the block? And I was saying sorry about being aloof and disconnecting for a little bit. And I find that we have a relationship to all these things. We don't just have a relationship with our kids and our partner. We have a relationship with our business. We have a relationship to money. We have a relationship to the actual offer. I have a relationship to my alchemy program. And it will go well, and all of a sudden it'll be blocked. And I just have to have a connection to it, see what's that about, change it, and then it's free again,
You're
like
still running your alchemy program. Well, did that cut birth in my world?
in your world.
That
Yeah,
is so
I
great.
did. It actually like MMM, the what was work I did with you, like inspired, this group of women and this idea. I was sitting with it and I was like, I want something, and I couldn't see it for a while. And then I actually did the retreat with Vu, and did
Yep.
embodiment stuff. And then a couple of days later, like just being so clear, it just like bang, 2 days, it just downloaded. And yeah, it's been 4 years or something now. It's still running. But it hasn't been able to keep running unless I kept connecting to it and changing it. It's very different now to what it was.
Yep.
And there's been times I've looked at like, do I need to destroy this? Like, does it need to go? But I haven't, we've got to create maintenance destruction. Like we either destroy the thing itself and end the relationship altogether, or we're called to end the way it's been relating to, and we change, and so I've looked at it and I've just had to keep changing how I'm relating to it, changing the last round. Like I wasn't excited about it and I was like, why? And I connected to it, and I care about my intimacy with my clients now. And then before I like to teach and I didn't care about my relationship to them. I do now. I really do. And it's my main thing. And so I added more intimacy in. And I also love day trainings where I get to train and like, and teach super conscious, more advanced stuff. Like so I just did that and changed it. And then bang, it created it again.
Mm.
So I just think we've always got this organic relationship to all these things. And so it's not about I've got to spend an hour with my kids and an hour here. It's just how is this relationship? What does it need? And that's how we can do it. That's how I think we can create it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes, I think, yeah, I'm like, is this the right question? Yes. Okay. So it's like if a woman was listening to this who, is wanting to start her business and, you've obviously gone from doing, which also, I know you'll say this, is like that season with Richmond and the deep strategy was like such a fucking necessary initiation for you.
Yeah.
And you probably learnt a lot still, which in which you do right now as well, just that you probably wouldn't even realize
Yeah, yeah. I
versus
think the
being.
masculine parts are so needed, and yeah, we were saying before we don't like to say masculine, feminine, blah, blah, blah. But the part of us that takes action, that's got
Yep.
structure, that
Ugh.
goes, yeah, that warrior like claims what you want and is like
Yep.
relentless. Like one of my superpowers is I focus on what I want. I'm relentless. Like I do
Yep.
not let it go. Like, there's been so many times in retreats and stuff, looks like it's going to go to shit and no one's coming. I've spent 30 grand and I'm like, no, I'm not taking no for a fucking answer. And it's like that masculine part of me is very strong and that's what helps create. So
Yeah.
and when I ended with him, I was like, the devil, bad, it's like the masculine, it's like, oh, I could get rid of it, like, but it felt like I was flailing because there was no structure to hold me up. I was just like chaos, oscillating in the feminine and just like meditate and move. And it's like, it was great for a season, but it's like, I can't live like this. Our body needs a skeleton. Like,
Yep.
yeah, like we need all parts. And so, yes, it's incredibly important. And I think for a business to thrive, a business is a structure. Like
Yep.
it's got to have some skeleton to it. So I do see the power of that and the importance of it. It's just
Yeah.
with all of it though, with all of you. And what I
Yeah.
found for me when I worked with you is that like we have trauma around the masculine or the feminine, or what do we want to call it, right? And I had stories and journeys around my dad and the masculine and my mom. And so the work with him was like healing bits of that. And I've had to do that further as well. But then with you was like around my mom and the feminine. And I find with a lot of relationships, even the one I've been in recently, it's like healing those elements so that I can be the full spectrum of me. Because before I met you, I thought the feminine was like powerless and weak and, was not going to help me create anything. And also that it was scary and manipulative and judgy and hated me. And it wasn't an energy like I trusted at all. So the work with you and beyond, like, helped me just develop trust back in the feminine, in intuition, yeah. And I think that's when you can fully be your whole self, and use all of it.
Mm. And a bit of side note, I actually think that I've been talking to friends of ours, Miroslav and Vic and Abby and Jared, about this dynamic of masculine and feminine, and it's like, and our roles. There's a whole like trad wife thing. Have you seen what that is?
I don't know what treadway is, no.
You don't know what trad wife is? Oh my
What's
gosh.
What's that?
It's like this movement. It's called traditional wife,
Ah,
trad wife. So there's this whole like, there's just quite a few famous people who, like they bake sourdough and they, grow, like living on a farm. It's like a very aspiring thing is to be a trad wife.
yeah.
Playing in these like go back to what life like used to be, and this is not to like shame anyone at all. Like I like baking now that I've become a mum, cooking, I like, but I think where we're going, and this is I think for any woman that feels like, Logan and I are always in our dynamic, like my genius is being really good at business and making lots of money.
Mm,
Why am I trying to shut that part of me down?
yeah,
And it's
100%.
like, doesn't actually matter if he doesn't make as much money with me. It does that's even that story alone is just fucking irrelevant because we're a partnership and we have our unique geniuses. And I think where we're going is this like, moving towards this like whole being. And in business, we need both. We need, the fucking like, especially as mamas, like I talk about, one of my recent mentors who I did a full somatic facilitation training with, she's like, this is warrior training. Like
Mm,
us going to the gym, being so in our bodies means that when the shit days happen, like we're fucking warriors, bro. Like we're
mm.
fucking fighting the arena for like, because we got to hold shit together.
Yeah, yeah. We need all parts of us, like, and I've done a lot of archetypal work, and I have a membership at the moment that is like called Magnetism, and it's all every month we do a new archetype and like work with another goddess to embody. And yeah, recently, it's just so funny when you do that work, like the whole group is on a journey, and whatever's next is like what everyone needs, and it's me
Wow.
too, and I'm just being led to. And so we did the warrior recently. And it was like, and it was the same thing of me like reclaiming, recalling, because I had been burnt by the warrior before, but it was the unhealthy, immature warrior of me.
Yeah.
When I do it with God or the universe, and it's like I'm doing it for the greater, and it's got that power behind me, and it's not all on me. Like the warrior is fucking powerful. But then
Mm.
the next month we did the innocent, which is complete, like the maiden just blah. It's like complete opposite. But it's like we need all of us. We need
Yeah.
all of it. And what you're saying about you and Logan, and just also the cooking, and I've never loved cooking. Like even with a mum, whatever. I've never. There's just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
never been my thing. So I have a cook, and I have like these things in my business I don't love. I have people that love it, that they do that, because then I get to fully in that time play with my son while she's doing all that, and she does the washing and whatever. It's like I don't love this stuff, so I'm gonna get someone who does love it, and she's amazing, and she does love it. And we love her. She's like a nonna in our life, or whatever. She's
Oh,
and all the people who work for me too, it's like they love what they're doing and they're amazing at it. And, and that frees me up to love what I do. And it's just getting the team of support, and the same with you and your partner. It's like, yeah, you love things, they love it. Doesn't matter. Like it's all, I really believe in the law of compensation of like, we are all like contributing and creating and sowing, and it will repay in whatever form it does. It doesn't have to be tit for tat and this and that and check that, it's just
yeah.
the pool of life, and it will come in whatever way. But yeah, there's no point you cutting off who you are and then, and what you love. Because it makes same with me. It's like when I don't do retreats, parts of me don't go as much in the business. Like it's a part of me dies, like a part of me that I love and I get so much energy from. Like it's not there, and then my rest of my life suffers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like the big thing that I'm just hearing through this is just like the ultimate I think who we are as mothers and business owners and women who have, movements and is the permission slip,
Mm.
to be like follow that knowing, that lightning, that intuition, that thing that is coming through your oracle, and like just the permission to bring all of your genius.
Yeah. Yeah, and if I was to summarize like one word as to like what you did in my life, or all those 4 or 5 whatever years ago it was, it's like yeah, permission would be it. Because before I came to you, I was wearing these business suity things and trying to like have businesses set way, and you were like fuck it, Miranda, like go, no, I was like I try to not have a relationship and just to be really considered and measured, and and you were just like burn it all down, tear it all down, just fucking go wherever you want to go, like go be with whoever and do, express whatever. And like, I was looking back and laughing at some old videos and posts with my friend because around the time that we did, stuff with you, and I was doing we're doing a fear challenge, whatever, and I was like walking around like bikini in the suburb in winter in COVID, and I was like,
Oh my God.
dressing up as Batwoman, in the park with my son. Like, I don't know, I was doing some crazy shit,
Oh,
and
that was so good.
but it was like, you really helped me just go, you can do all that and play, and it's not going to hurt your business or whatever, And I said to you before, like that 6 months with you at the beginning, I didn't earn more money or whatever, but I became happy and fulfilled and alive. And then that made me earn more later,
Oh
and
yeah.
it maybe didn't. And this is the thing, like the KPI of like, does this coach give me money and blah, blah, blah. It's like, is that the only measure in life that matters? Because in my deathbed, I'm sure I'm not going to be sitting there like, I've got 100,000 in my bank or whatever. I don't give a shit. I
Yeah.
care about my memories. I care about the loved ones. Like, and so that's what you did, you helped me live a life I loved and get back onto being who I am and making life what I wanted it to be, and I said to you, like, I look at the before and after Miranda, and I was physically completely different because I had life in me again,
Yeah.
and the permission to be myself and not to hold and hide and cut this and edit that, and like, it was huge. It's liberating, and that
Mm,
liberation changed my life,
mm,
and I made more money eventually, but not at the start, but there was a foundation for that. But not just making more, making it in a fulfilled way
yeah.
that I loved and didn't hurt my life.
Yeah. 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 I'm building out a model and it's like soften, go crazy, get rich is part of my new theme. And it's like, yeah, you've got to soften at the start sometimes when you've been so stuck in your identities,
Mm.
and then break free of all that. And yeah, it does not always like this, but I'm just looking at you now and I'm just like, oh, you're so magnetic and, your sparkly silver top and pink lipstick. And, when Miranda first came to me, she was like pale and, had this like dead straight hair on her face.
Yeah, you're
And I
like,
mean, I don't think I've seen you touch your fringe once right now.
yeah, yeah, I used to touch, but I remember you like gave me a challenge, like you're not, you used to give me these challenges. You're like, not that straighten your hair, and you have to wear a dress for like a month. It's like you gave me these funny challenges. It was so great because yeah, as I said, it brought that aliveness and just that fluidity and flexibility to, I remember, I don't know what word it was, but it was you kept saying something like it was there was a word you used, but it was radical something. What was it? Radical, like
Um,
it was basically just going and doing the complete opposite
yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
can't remember
forgot
the
that
word,
word.
but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was so powerful because I think I was so afraid of fucking it up and like, I had to follow this set thing and but I disrupting it, it just blew out any of these shoulds and things that I thought I had to. And I was like amazed that, I was being this or doing that, and people were like, more people were coming to me. It was like, what, Um, yeah, radical disruption or something. I don't know what it was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to find out. I love that word. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think because when you start disrupting the beliefs and not only like the challenges for anyone listening, like they help to like break out of the body as well, because when you're stopping doing things that you normally do with your body, you start to like it's like there's so many ways in which trauma can be released,
Mm,
through play, through, as like play is a huge way to release trauma, laughing, being ridiculous, so these challenges help people to just kind of like fucking disrupt their whole being.
mm,
And that starts to like release their rigidity, which then starts to make them more magnetic. And for a woman and a man, your magnetism, your magnetism and your frequency is the highest way in which you make sales, which you speak on stage, which you do your content, which you love, which you fuck, which you look good in the gym. Like to me, obviously clearly obsessed with this work, but it's like it's fucking true.
yeah, yeah, it is. And yeah, I think, like that, yeah, that's the thing, like the trauma and froze state, like that we can get into and we don't want to take action, or we're sitting there, like I remember, yeah, doing all releases, whatever. It's like actually sometimes just to move and like even to put something out there and to like fail in launches or whatever. It's like I got so much more out of that than sitting there just analyzing, not taking a step, or, I know Ryan a long time ago like taught me this like ladder thing of like, Tony Robbins is here on the steps and you're here or whatever, because he's just taken more steps. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot to it and whatever, but he's been focused. he's taken action and then he's learned from it and moved, and there is so much, like, I think as women as well in business, like we can sit and do the emotional thing or the hesitate this and the question that and the, yeah, not claim and go for it but I think there's so much power in actually just moving and going for like I wanted to do retreats for ages. I took ages to do it because I was afraid that people wouldn't go and I'd put money in it, whatever. As soon as I just booked it and then went for it, like, shit came up and it got blocked and it looked like it wasn't going to happen, but I cleared those things and then it did magically. And I created so much transformation from the movement, and that journey of me moving to it was the
Yeah.
transformation. We don't
It's
have to wait to transform, then go, it's in the journey of it. So,
totally. And it's the initiation of saying yes, like if like the year it for me is really reclaiming like, oh yeah, book something that scares the fuck out of you because like it doesn't matter how it's going to happen. It's in like the you saying yes, it's like who it invites you to become is the
exactly.
necessary initiation you need. And
Yeah.
we're waiting for something to, and like maybe this is for anyone who's, starting business or in that 5 to 10K month. It's like, the breakthroughs are going to happen when you invest in the not knowing.
Yes. 1,000%. And I really believe that, whatever we're choosing to go forward in as well, there's like a flavor of the initiation. So like when I do a new alchemy, like there's always a theme or there's a new way it wants to come. And then whatever that is often is what I get initiated into. Or like my retreat to Peru was meant to be this soul piece, but actually what came up is I had all this spiritual um, trauma around this old Christian journey I was on. And I didn't want to go to Peru because I thought I was going to have to lose my seductress, lose my sexuality again and go. But for some reason it was like, as a Catholic or as a Christian, there was some energy and I was like, ah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I had to clear that. And I actually reconnected. I've been trying to reconnect with God for like years from all that
Mm.
journey, right? Probably from
Yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah, I remember.
And I did a lot of stuff and it did at point, but it's like that journey to Peru broke me
Wow.
open and reconnected me to God and my mission more than anything. And that was the flavor of what it was there for me. And so yeah, I was running it and running it for my clients and like, but it had its own initiation for me. Fiji with money, the same thing. Like, and I might have an idea of what I think it is, but it's, often God shows them. But that's why I run this stuff and I run my business because it like, yes, it gives us all these things, but the biggest thing is that it initiates and evolves me more than anything. Um, and yeah, it drops away the stuff that isn't meant to be ours anymore. And the business and offering these things does that. So before I give it to anyone, I've gone through a big initiation myself.
Yeah.
And I don't actually care if I make money off the retreats or whatever. I do it for that. That's why I love it.
Yeah.
That initiation, that evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much I feel like so much goodness in here. And it's just so wonderful to see you so beautiful and radiant and just living the life that you want to live and the
Thank you.
business you want to do.
The part that you've played in it, hun, massive, massive part, and the gift that you are in this world and the genius. I know from my time with you, like the women you've impacted, and I know there's so many more that I don't even know about. And yeah, just so blessed to have you in our lives because you open up the world for a lot of people. So thank
Thank you, my love.
you.